US President Donald Trump has said that his administration is continuing negotiations to address trade barriers with India. President Trump expressed optimism over the finalization of the trade deal. He also stated that he would speak to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and that there would be no difficulty in concluding the deal. This marks a shift in tone. President Trump has imposed 50% tariffs on Indian exports to the United States, citing Russian oil purchases. Indian Prime Minister Modi reciprocated the optimism, calling Washington and Delhi close friends and neutral partners. He expressed confidence over the conclusion of the trade deal negotiations and said he is looking forward to speaking with President Trump as well. Later, Trump reposted Prime Minister Modi's message on Truth Social. The sanctions and statements from the United States have strained US-India ties, but these latest remarks signal a thaw in relations. We are now joined by Sharad Kohli. He is an economist and he joins us live from New Delhi. Sharad, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, sorry, there's some technical issues. Sharad should just be joining us in just a second to discuss a possible thaw during recent India-US relations. Of course, Donald Trump imposed a 50% tariff on Indian imports, 25% initially for not reaching a trade deal, and then an additional 25% for the purchase of Russian oil from New Delhi. This leaves India being one of Donald Trump's highest tariff countries in the world, despite a seemingly close friendship with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and, of course, President Donald Trump. Donald Trump has said that trade negotiations are ongoing. However, a deal is yet to be reached. Of course, we will continue to bring you all updates in regards to this story, and we'll be bringing them straight to you. Hopefully we get a guest very soon to discuss the implications of this, what it could mean for that India-US relationship, and how it is affecting India and the lax that could be put on the Indian economy if a trade deal is reached. So we will hopefully be discussing that in just a second. Okay, we're now joined by Sharad Kohli. He is an economist from New Delhi. Sharad, pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. First of all, let's talk about a possible thaw here in relations and the current struggles that the Indian economy does face by these recently imposed 50% tariffs, some of the highest in the world. If a trade deal here is reached, Sharad, what kind of lax could that put on New Delhi's economy?
Well, my greetings to NewsX World audience and to you. I think if the deal is reached, it would probably give us the relief from the $50–60 billion of export constraint that we are facing right now, because 50% tariffs basically meant embargo on about $50–60 billion of export from India to the US. Now, if we look at these recent tweets from President Trump and then a reciprocatory tweet from Prime Minister Modi, well, I think I'll have to wait before we start celebrating, because knowing President Trump's mood swings, we should not forget that he's also made another tweet where he's pressurizing Europe to impose 100% tariffs on India and China because of buying oil from Russia. So I think these are two contradictory moves, and so therefore I would only like to believe when it gets on the ground. But in the meanwhile, a very positive step, I would say, especially after his trade advisor, Peter Navarro, has been making some very nasty statements against India, calling it as Modi's war, calling India as laundromat. I mean, though that language is definitely not acceptable as far as India is concerned. So I think President Trump will have to ensure that the people around him, his advisors, they need to be very careful in choosing the words. They cannot make such nasty comments because that will go against the deal. Well, so that I'm aware that the Indian Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has been informing the countrymen that there is a dialogue going on, and by November we can expect the deal. And this is only getting ratified by President Trump's tweet that India and America are good friends. You know, India is a great country. Prime Minister Modi is a great prime minister, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, as a matter of courtesy, as a matter of diplomacy, Prime Minister Modi, when his name was mentioned, he obviously had to reciprocate by a corresponding sweet message. But then it's right now, it's only words. We'll have to wait and see if it converts down to action. But having said that, I don't think India is going to be substantially impacted, even if he decides to hold on to the 50% tariffs, because India has already started looking for alternate markets. India is doing reforms within the country to boost consumption and to boost demand. So I really don't think it's going to have any major impact. It's good if the deal happens, nothing like it, because there's a lot of industry in India being impacted. We talk of textiles, we talk of leather, we talk of gems and jewelry, we talk of a few other machinery, we talk of a few other sectors. Yes, they are being impacted as of now, but ever since the announcement was made on the 2nd of April, I think the Indian industry and the Commerce Ministry supporting it had already started looking for alternates, and a lot of exporters that I know, they are looking at alternate markets. So if it happens, well and good, it'll be definitely welcome. We have a reason to celebrate. But even if it doesn't happen, we don't have a substantial reason to worry. And these tweets, in the middle of all that was going on, there was some venom being spilled over from the White House. I hope this tweet will probably provide relief from that, and things should move forward in a positive direction.
Okay, yes, Shara, do stay with us as we have further updates and Donald Trump comments.